Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into something really crucial, how real change happens, when you're tackling these big, complicated issues like air pollution. And we're drawing from this really insightful piece by Urban Emissions. It's their sim422021.pdf document.
Right, UInfo. They've been around since, 2007, basically a hub for air pollution info and analysis.
Exactly. And what I found fascinating about this paper is where it draws its inspiration from. It's Malcolm Gladwell's book, The Tipping Point. Remember that?
Oh, absolutely. It's a great starting point.
Yeah.
The author took Gladwell's idea of connectors, mavens, and salesmen and kind of reimagined them for the environmental world, specifically for air quality progress. They mapped it onto 3 key groups.
Okay, so 3 groups essential for making things happen. Let's unpack that. Who's the first group? They call them the feeders.
Yeah, the feeders. Think of them as the collectors or maybe the sense makers. Their job basically is to connect the dots, meaning they gather the information, modeling data, monitoring results, all that science stuff, and present it. Make it make sense.
So like academics, researchers.
Exactly. Academics, yes, but also data analysts, engineers, scientists, even students or just concerned citizens digging into the facts. They're the ones figuring out, why ozone is worse near traffic or mapping pollution hotspots using ground data or satellites. They provide that foundation of understanding.
Got it. Solid data is step 1. But data alone doesn't change things, right? It can just sit in a report.
Precisely. Which brings us to the second group.
The drummers. This sounds interesting.
Yeah. The drummers are the noisemakers. Their main role is to highlight the problem, to debate what's going on, maybe push back on legislation, or just demand change.
So who fits into this category?
Well, it's a broad group. Activists, definitely, but also artists, communicators, doctors speaking out, lawyers taking action, the media, scientists explaining the risks publicly.
And just citizens raising their voices too, I suppose.
Absolutely. Anyone making noise for the cause. They're figuring out the best ways to mobilize people, get attention, and make sure the feeder's data gets heard. They amplify it.
Okay, so you've got the evidence from the feeders and the noise and advocacy from the drummers. That sounds like a powerful combination.
It is, but there's one more crucial piece.
Right, the ones who actually make the final call, the changers.
Exactly. The changers are the decision makers. Ultimately, they're the ones who decide what action gets taken or doesn't get taken, making things better or sometimes worse.
And we're mostly talking about government here.
Primarily, yes. Government officials, ministers, agency heads, city leaders, secretaries, people with the actual authority to say, add more buses, build bike lanes, improve waste collection, things like that.
Things that require policy and resources.
Precisely. They hold the power to implement the solutions.
So this leads to the really critical question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's the dynamic here? How do these 3 groups actually, work together to create real impact, especially involving the changers?
That's the core of it. You can have the most credible science from the feeders, studies showing health costs, economic impacts.
Right.
And you can have really strong, loud voices from the drummers, civil society groups mobilizing, doctors demanding action, lawyers filing suits. But if the changer, the decision maker, dismisses the problem or just doesn't prioritize it, well, then nothing really happens. All that effort gets stalled.
So the information and the awareness are necessary but not sufficient.
Exactly. It kind of begs the question, what's the point of all that great information and advocacy if it doesn't lead to action? You hit this wall. So the challenge is twofold, really. You need the deep information, sure, but you absolutely need the government, the changers, to agree there is a problem and be willing to actually do something. You need their consensus and will.
So the takeaway is that no matter how good the feeders' research is or how loud the drummers shout,
Yeah.
it all just stays as studies or campaigns until the changer steps up, acknowledges it, and pushes for real solutions.
That's the crux of it. All 3 roles are vital: feeders, drummers, and changers. And they all need different skills, different approaches. It's an ecosystem.
It really is a dynamic interplay.
Absolutely. And, understanding these roles, how they connect or sometimes fail to connect it, can really shift how you look at tackling these huge problems.
How so?
Well, it helps explain why some efforts succeed and others just fizzle out. And maybe, just maybe, it helps you think about where you might fit in, where your skills could best contribute to making change happen in areas that matter to you. Something to think about.